things haven't been easy since it all happened. I really didn't know what to do at first. Everyone was just gone, you know. I ran and made sure to let, half-nosed know. I thought there'd be a bit more of a fuss about it, if I'm honest, but there really wasn't. I get it. I guess we were all still new, and the boss had gone and done something without letting anyone else know. It was supposed to be easy money, right? Wasn't so easy though, was it? Still, I got on with things, mainly lookout stuff, but Half-Nose and some of the others have let me tag along, and they've taught me the ropes. It's not really what I had in mind. Things in Ostwald, they ain't so bad, really, long as you follow the rules and do as the man says. If you don't, well, he's not cruel. At least I don't think so. No one gets their legs broken on the streets. You just, you just don't get seen again. Still, it's been okay, but I think it's all going to change now, because Kruger's back, alive and well. I could barely believe it, bless Sigmar. He looks and acts a little different, it's true. Almost like he's, I don't know, found something else to do with his life. But it's still Kruger, really, right? You know, maybe we can sort something out, get some better work together. Yeah, I think things are starting to look up, and if I'm honest, I really missed him. I missed him a lot. This is Red Moon Role-Playing. All around you, Sigfreda, people are enjoying themselves, drinking nice drink, eating fine foods. The weather's nice. There are dozens of knights of the Knights Panther and soldiers of the City Watch all around you, this very large open space. And yet right now, at this lovely dinner table, you are standing right next to Lady Marguerite von Wittgenstein. Not a single scratch on her, but you still remember. You remember your talks. You remember running up those stairs, knife in hand, ignoring death itself, because you wanted to get to her. And now here she is, eating a peach, and looking at you. Erica is by your side. She's starting to let out a low growl, but she is keeping to heel. How are you feeling, Sigfreda?
Like a dawning realization hit me. I think maybe I was so consumed, especially with my, let's call it interest, in our elven friend, that it took a while for me to even realize who it is that's addressing me. I heard the name Wallenstein. I didn't even connect that to Wittgenstein, and even when she was talking to me, maybe because the inside of the castle was so dark and gloomy, it's only now out in the bright light of day. Things are starting to fall into place. Yes, I am addressing the person who I am currently imitating. That's awkward.
It certainly is, isn't it? There's a moment of silence as you're thinking. This woman tilts her head and says, "Well then, that's a fine little guardian you have there. But I'd be very careful if I were you. There's an awful lot of guards and knights. You might be able to assault me with that beast, but it wouldn't go very well for you. But you're probably wondering why I haven't called the guards yet. I'm a diplomatic woman. I like to talk things out before I close the deal. So, let's lower our voices a little. What is it you want, Lady Marguerite Wittgenstein?"
Well, really, I have to say, there's no need... There's no need to put such stress on my voice, Commissar Frieda Wallenstein.
That is who I am, yes. So?
I don't think there's much point to either of us exposing ourselves. I mean, your castle's a ruin. You're in the beautiful city of Middenheim. You clearly have a great position, which I'm sure you must have set up for yourself a long time ago to already be the commissar of the Merchants Guild. Why would you want anyone to know what your family was up to in Wittgendorf by exposing me?
That's an interesting bunch of accusations you're throwing around.
Oh, it's not an accusation. The entire population could attest to it, and although I know the Imperial Guard has something of a reputation of not listening to peasants, if enough of them cry out in the same voice, someone will take notice and word will travel, and this lovely identity that you've constructed for yourself or assumed will collapse. Me? I only set this identity up in the last couple of weeks. Yes, it took some work. Yes, I'm indebted to a gang, and that's unpleasant. But I'm no one, really, with no name and no station in the world. If I have to move on, I've shown that I can move on. And no, I'm not going to set Erica on you in the middle of the public square. Lady Wallenstein. Commissar Wallenstein, I should say.
Commissioner. Not commissar. Commissioner, my dear.
Oh, my apologies. I thought you were here touting spiel and the like. Out of interest, why the name? Why Frieda Wallenstein?
That's my name. I don't quite get what you're insinuating. But I can say that maybe certain other names are not very conducive to good business, are they? Anyway, I'm a busy woman, and this is going on too much. What do you want? I understand what you're getting at. What do you want, and who hired you? I suppose you won't tell me that, but I can always ask, can't I?
Well, you can, of course. The Empire is known for its freedom of speech. Well, I am Lady Marguerite Wittgenstein. I am here from Wittgendorf to attend the festival in Middenheim, and I've heard some terrible rumours of all kinds of chaotic activities at play, people manipulating the powers that be, and, well, what responsible citizen of the Empire wouldn't show an interest in trying to break down such a conspiracy?
That's all amusing. Why did you choose that name? I don't quite get the angle there. I understand this blackmail attempt, but I don't understand that part. Is that just for amusement value? Or I suppose, was it you thought that no one would notice a foreign noble from a failing family?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for you. It seems you've answered your own question. I don't need to elaborate, do I?
All right, then. All right. I'm still willing to negotiate. So how much money?
I'm not interested in extorting you, Commissioner. Would you prefer I call you Frieda or Marguerite?
Why would you be calling me Marguerite, dear? That doesn't make any sense.
I look at her. She's definitely Marguerite Wittgenstein.
Definitely. Of course. I mean, how did she... It does occur to you that it is strange that those burn marks are completely gone. Like, they were quite severe. She's also, you now notice, has dyed her hair a little. It's a slightly different shade. But yes, this is Marguerite von Wittgenstein. It is her. Although, roll an intuition check.
That's a failure, and I'm not spending my points just this early.
No. Yes, it's her. It is her. It has to be. How could it not be? It's a bit strange she's here. It's a bit strange those wounds are gone, but no, this is her, Marguerite von Wittgenstein.
I frown.
She's doing a very good job, it occurs to you, actually, of pretending she doesn't even recognise you. Fascinating. You didn't know she was so good at this, but then maybe that was the whole point.
So, out of interest, why did you corner me?
Because I'm not in the mood for games, darling. You're here to see me.
No, look. You seem to take exception to my name and title, and me saying I am where I'm from, why would I not be who I'm saying I am? I'm trying to catch her in a logic trap. If she insists she is not Lady Marguerite, then why should I not be? So I'm looking at her.
I happen to know Lady Marguerite very well. You're a very good friend of mine, hence I know what you're getting at. Although I'll correct you a little, you're going to free some peasants from a plague village. That's not going to go down very well, darling, bringing them here to say little things. But again, okay, you've made your point. What do you actually want? You literally just said you don't want money. What then? Is this a humiliation scheme? Is this... Who hired you?
I'm so sorry, Frida. I am so confused right now. I put my hand on her arm. You think I'm here to humiliate you, and yet you believe I'm the one impersonating someone else. I
know that you are not Lady Marguerite von Wittgenstein. Let's get that out of the way. I do know that.
And yet you think I have the goods on you. I'm all in favour of extorting someone if I have the goods on them. Let's cut to the chase. We are looking into, as I mentioned, the chaotic activities in Middenheim. I want to know who's behind it, where they're based, and specifically who in the upper echelons of Middenheim is either in thrall to or manipulating. I mean, if you can give me that information, I don't have to open the books on you and your unnerving similarity to Lady Marguerite.
How exactly would you know that there's a similarity? Who really are you?
I didn't just pluck the name out of thin air, darling.
You just said, as part of your little scheme, that you had some help. Who would that be?
And you keep asking that, and there's a reason I keep not telling you.
All right, well, a woman can ask. So wait, you're telling me what you actually... She looks around for a moment. What you actually want is some information on chaotic individuals in this city. That's what you actually have come here today to get from me.
Well, yes. Would not all law-abiding citizens want that?
Of course. Why would I know anything about that? I'm the Commissioner of the Commerce of Trade and Taxation. Have you tried looking in the Low Kings or people like that?
I look at her with a withering stare. Let's cut the bullshit, shall we? If you are the Commissioner, if you are so high up in the city hierarchy, you're going to know of things that go on behind closed doors, of people that say things they shouldn't, pull strings they shouldn't, and people acting strangely as if being manipulated. I want some names, Commissioner. And once I have them, names, places, something of value, then we go our separate ways. We never have to speak to each other again. Now, you sit at one end of the buffet table, I'll sit at the other. I won't go for the small sausages while you're reaching for them. Our hands won't need to brush. We won't have to share a tender, awkward moment.
I see. Well, I don't know. Have you tried looking around the High Court? Maybe someone there is secretly a cultist. I'm a law-abiding citizen, so I wouldn't know any, and to insinuate that I do is itself an accusation. Lady Marguerite. Or, oh, I see. You're going off the rumours about the Wittgensteins and assuming that because I know them or knew them, that I am involved in something like that. A serious accusation, and you're going to need proof of that.
You are spinning your own story here, Commissioner. I'm not saying anything like that. And quite frankly, your advice to look in the High Court is about as hollow as saying, look in the East Quarter.
You seem to be playing your hand here, dear. You're forgetting that I'm the one not calling the guards. I can do that. I know you are not who you say you are. Impersonating a noble is a very dangerous game.
So why don't you then? If you feel so confident that I can't do something to you.
She pauses. I have my reasons. Fine. Let me think. So wait, you're... What are you, some sort of Inquisition agent? Chamber? Are you working for the Graf or something? Is this some undercover watch investigation?
I consider telling her. Would it add more leverage to this conversation? At points it feels like we are essentially on different wavelengths. I'm trying to get something out of her, she's trying to get something out of me, and we're not quite connecting. And especially when it comes to the subject of blackmail, I know, then, if she isn't Marguerite Wittgenstein, which would be very strange given her identical nature has been established, I have no idea what I'm dealing with here. I don't know who she is, I don't know what she is after, what her relationship is with the Wittgensteins, other than she said she knows them. So I'm just trying to bluff and bullhead my way through this.
Indeed you are, and it might even be starting to show. I'd like you to roll a coolness roll. Let's see if you're able to keep this calm, because you're right. You started off quite well in this conversation, but some of the things she's saying are starting to throw you off a little. Just a little. Let's see if you can hide it.
Oh, that's a good roll. I got 12. My coolness is 56.
Oh, very good. Well, the good news is you are able to keep it under wraps. The woman looks at you and sighs. All right. I'm not entirely sure you're telling the truth, but you really just want me to point you at some people who I think might be cultists in this city?
It's because you are a trusted and a very important person. I wouldn't be speaking to you if you weren't. Trying to turn the tables now, making it feel like I came to her. You know, if I were an Inquisitor, if I were working for the infamous Black Chamber, would I tell you? And in fact, if you were asking someone, are you a member of the Black Chamber? Would you want them to look you in the eye and say yes?
It would certainly give you some steel to have, my dear, but don't misunderstand me. I have friends in places too. But all right, I tell you what, let's play your game. I'm willing to negotiate, as I said. I suppose recently some of the things happening in our fine city have been a little strange. The desire of some people for this new tax facilitation is oddly timed. And some people who, for example, the High Chancellor, who you'd think... Well, not that I'm saying anything about them, but... Well, somebody up above seems to want something to happen, and I'm not entirely sure it's for the good of the city. And if it's not for the good of the city, well, then maybe some people are involved. Especially since, surely, in my opinion, one of the law lords themselves must be behind the current schemes. It's not me, by the way, if that's what you were wondering. I barely even know what I sign half the time. I'm not really in my position because I'm very good at numbers.
Well, that's something to be proud of, I'm sure.
Yes, so there you go. That's all I have for you.
All you have is that I should look at the law lords.
Why not? That's a good guess, or I don't know. Ulrich. It is unusual that the Ulrich has said nothing against the temple tax, despite it apparently should be affecting him as much as anyone.
Well, I'm sure you've been very helpful. Thank you so much. And when you say you have many friends, I can see why, Commissioner, you are a very friendly person.
I know. People do say that. Is that really it? Are we now going to part ways and I'm not going to see you again? Really? That's good for me.
Well, it seems we would be best off if we went our separate ways, I think. And with always the ever-looming pendulum swinging above both our heads, that one of us could say something or do something stupid to the other.
and that would be unfortunate, darling. I would be very unhappy. I'm afraid I'm going to have to add one more thing on that as well. And she leans in. I assume that Lady Marguerite von Wittgenstein isn't suddenly going to just vanish in the night after today. Am I wrong? If I'm not, if I hear that you are doing anything untoward, anything lecherous or debasing using that name, I'm going to be very unhappy with you.
I would never sully the good name Wittgenstein after all the good works they've done.
They've done no good work at all, dear. You've really, on that regard, chosen a bad name. I mean, it might give you a little bit of credence for a while, but this isn't my threat. It's not going to last you very long, especially when people find out that you're impersonating a plague-ridden family in a dying province.
Well, let's keep it our little secret then, Commissioner. And then people can just think of me as the foreign lady, and they can think of you as the upright, perfectly legally abiding Commissioner.
They already do think that, dear.
And we wouldn't want that to change now, would we?
Oh, you're a cheeky one. I kind of like that. But very well then, let us part ways. Oh, the handsome man and the other one. They're with you, aren't they?
I don't know that I would consider either of them the other one. But they're my friends, yes.
Oh, good. Tell that one that invitation is rescinded.
Rescinded?
Oh, aren't you droll?
Well, you know, I unlike you with your numbers, I do spend time reading.
Ha 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 ha. Oh, very well then. Good luck with whatever you're up to, Lady Marguerite, I suppose. Yes, good luck with that.
I'll offer her a curtsy, Commissioner.
And with that, Commissioner Frieda Wallenstein does a little curtsy, and then suddenly Dr. Luigi Parvot comes over and extends a low bow. Everything all right, ladies? I hope we're all getting along, aren't we? Oh, yes, Doctor. I was just saying to Lady Marguerite I was hoping she was enjoying our city. But please, do continue the conversation you were having.
The Commissioner knows me from Wittgendorf.
Oh, not really. Only passing. And with that, she just walks off and joins several other people who immediately begin chatting and laughing with her. The Doctor leans into you. All good, my lady? Yes, Frieda Wallenstein, the Commissioner, a little bit of a... if she likes you, she likes you, and if she doesn't, let's just say, she doesn't play nice. If I were you, I'd stay away from a fine lady such as yourself doesn't really want to get too sullied, although she does do very good parties, I've heard.
Well, that's wonderful to know. No, she was nothing but the height of etiquette, Doctor. I'm far too confused right now to engage him in the light-hearted banter that we've enjoyed previously, and so I excuse myself. I'm going to just head over and get myself a drink. But thank you for the suggestion on how to conduct myself around her, Doctor. I do appreciate it.
Erica seems to calm down and gives you a bit of a nuzzle, and you go off, and yes, what a strange encounter that was. Even stranger that it seems to have ended extremely peacefully.
Yeah, there's lots of thoughts flooding my head right now. Everything from... So, she looked like Marguerite Wittgenstein, but she's not Marguerite Wittgenstein, but she knows Marguerite Wittgenstein, and she looks exactly like Marguerite Wittgenstein. Her name is Wallenstein, which is similar, but Stein is by no means an unusual suffix to have on a name, especially if you're from this part of the world. And she thinks that I have something to blackmail her with, but she approached me. Is it just because of my attitude? Do I give off a hostile attitude to people? Is that it? Do people think I'm threatening them when I'm just engaging in conversation? Well, either way, clearly it works because she gave me something. Law Lords. Look into the Law Lords. Well, that's better than just look at the High Court. But there's probably a lot of lords in a place like this. who is she? And all these other questions are rattling around as I have a drink, finish it, and then pour myself another one and drink that too.
Indeed. Kruger, what were you up to? You briefly did notice that your friend Sigfreda took a little step aside and she started talking with some woman. And what was going through your mind? Again, that woman looked awfully familiar. Had you seen her in a painting somewhere? But then you think to yourself, well, no, that couldn't be, though, could it?
What couldn't be?
Well, the one person she might look like, isn't that someone who's buried underneath a castle? But you can't quite remember. And again, that person, well, you never saw them up close. They were always cloaked or they were above a banister.
That's certainly odd. I mean, in the castle we certainly saw all kinds of paintings and the like of the Wittgensteins, and there certainly were quite a few of them.
There were indeed. Yes, several paintings you find yourself remembering of various children and then adults, and yes, there were an awful lot of them.
But they're all dead, I mean, we made sure of that.
Certainly did. Although wasn't there something? You find yourself remembering a package on a table.
I try to remember what was that? Did we end up opening that? There's been so many things that have happened since that castle came crashing down.
You did, yes. You remember there was a... Yeah, you do. You remember there was a package on a table. A very nicely, neatly wrapped package with a doll in it, with a letter.
Yeah, there's, it does ring some kind of bell, but I don't know. There's been so many things that we've gone through over these last few weeks and months, and it is odd. I'll just leave it at that. I'll keep an eye out. I'll see if I can see what I can see from what's going on there. Is there some kind of threat to Sigfreda here, or should I step in, you know?
Well, as the conversation goes on, oddly, it seems to end rather peacefully. The two part ways. There's a little bit of snide whispering, but then, yeah, they just part ways. And now Sigfreda seems to be just going to get herself a drink. Or whatever it was, it's been resolved in some form.
Must not have been a government functionary then. That usually doesn't end that way.
No, although the individual, as you look at them, their dress is very fancy, and they have a chain of office around their neck. It looks actually quite similar to the sort of things Johannes Tegan was wearing.
Oh my. I think I'll need to catch up with Sigfreda to see what happened. I'll look around also for Heynrik. What's he up to?
Heynrik seems to be deep in conversation with several people, and as you're deciding who to go to, suddenly someone gives you a light tap on the shoulder. And you turn, and it is your friend Bjorn. His hair nice and red, seeming to have put on a nice coat, although his ragged clothing and weaponry is still quite visible underneath said cloak. And he smiles. Hey, sorry to bother you. I watched you at the, wow, look at you taking part in archery tournaments. That's madness. You did well, though. Wow, you almost beat the elf.
Boris, Bjorn, it's nice to see you. Yeah, I did a lot better than I would have imagined, honestly. I thought I'd forgotten how to shoot the bow, but no, it went well. And, I mean, I didn't beat the elf, but, you know, I feel okay with that.
Hey, you still did your best, man. So, hey, got time for a little drink or some food? As he says this, you notice immediately behind him a couple of guards and even some guests are all giving him a look. And he turns and looks and says, I mean, maybe not here. I'm not really, I don't really like, people coming for free food, do they, up in this part of the city. But maybe quickly can come down my end and we could just have a catch-up. You're not busy, are you? Are you busy?
I think I just need to see what Sigfreda and Heynrik are up to. But if they're all right, I might just be able to join you.
Oh, good. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and your friend, is she seeing anyone? Does she like fireworks?
I have no idea, I say. Honestly, I really have no idea if she likes fireworks or not. She's not seeing anyone right now, I say. I'm not sure if she's looking either. We've been involved in quite a lot of things, and it's, yeah. love battlefields, it doesn't always work out.
Oh no, I understand. Well, never mind. It's really good to see you. I've been doing okay, but since I thought you were dead like everyone else, and I'm doing good, but some of the other lads, they all know each other a lot better, and it's not always, and Half knows he's not exactly the sort you kind of go for a drink with. So I haven't really seen anyone I know, and then now you're here, and I thought we could catch up again because me, the boys.
Yeah, no, I would love to. Let me just check in with Sigfreda and Heynrik, and I mean, if you don't feel like you're welcome here, why don't I catch up with you later on? We can go to that place that you were guarding, or something around there, maybe, if you don't want to.
Oh yeah, no, I know some places in Oswald. No, there's some good places. Really, I mean, yeah, okay, like, not really, but, for people like us, like, and I've got connections, some, starting to, yeah, kind of.
That's great, that sounds great. You'll have to tell me all about it.
Alright, I guess I'll see you later then. Again, you see some guards already stepping in his direction, and he goes like, I gotta, that before I get accused of being a thief, which, I suppose I am, but, like, shh.
I say, smiling to him and wave goodbye to him.
And off he goes. Heynrik. You haven't noticed any of this because you are deep in conversation with people who want to talk to you. This elf, Valandrel, is continuing to comment on how, with a bit more work, he thinks you could actually be really good with a bow. And then you've got this man, Dieter Schmeidenhammer, champion. This is it. Heynrik, that's what you wanted. You remember hearing about this sort of thing, like you do a few tournaments and then you do a big one and then that's it. That's the highest a duelist can become, is the official champion to an important noble and lord, and who better than the Elector Count himself? And here he is, and he's got this lovely woman with him, and she's nice, and yeah, he's been chatting with you as well. How are you feeling, Heynrik?
I'm having the time of my life, thanks for asking. This is all it's about. In between just heaping mouthfuls of food that we can't normally afford as we travel, and getting to live that, it's a fantasy of sitting on this table and being like, and there I was. And like Bretonians, they're so intimidating on their horseback, but the second that they get off onto their feet, they're slow. That's their problem. The heavy armor, the lances. So he was all Mr. Tough and big, looking for the crippling blow from above, but I, using my dashing footwork, and we're just having the laughing. It's a good time, let me tell you.
The woman who you were told was Emanuel Schlagen is laughing at everything you're saying, clearly loving it all, as she hangs on the shoulder of Herr Dieter. And Dieter, close up, you also see again quite a handsome young man, maybe late 20s. Big, thick beard, so a broken nose. You can just see the little scar that at one point in time someone gave him quite a good deck in the face, but if anything, it's added to his character. Why, yes, that's the thing about Bretonians. They get them on a horseback. I give credit. They know what they're doing, but I still feel on the ground, true Reichlander steel. Sometimes even better than Middenheim steel. Don't get me wrong, a Middenheim axe. You can't do better than that, but Reichland steel for a sword, my personal favorite.
To the absolutely. I mean, there's something to be said for the heft of a Middenheim battle axe, don't get me wrong, but when you need a blade, something that can cleave through air and body alike, Reichland steel all the way. Although quite different than from Nuln steel. I mean, not so much weapons, but the explosions coming out of those cannons. We are nerding out about which steel is better to kill what kind of person in what way, and I have never been happier.
Well, I mean, you have to give credit to Nuln. It did used to be a capital. Well, long ago, and it's still doing quite well. Although I hear, is she a countess? It's funny, the Elector Count of Nuln, but they also are a countess. Sometimes all these noble titles are very confusing, aren't they? I hear she throws extremely extravagant parties.
Why wouldn't she?
And as you're having this conversation, you suddenly hear someone trying to get the attention of all of your little group. A youngish man, hair quite trimmed, quite balding on the top, wearing the clothes of a priest. And around his neck, in fact, a a symbol of the twin-tailed comet, indicating that he is a follower of Sigmar, a Sigmarite priest. Oh, gentlemen, ladies, I'm so sorry to bother you. Could I have a moment of your fine people's time?
I think it goes without saying I've never seen this person before in my life.
Correct. We recognize they are a priest of Sigmar, but otherwise they could be any priest of Sigmar.
Right. Do the others in the group, how are they reacting?
They turn, they nod, the lady nods, and the elf, Alavandarel, gives a polite nod, and Dieter as well. Oh, yes? Yes, sorry, champion, and of course huntsman. Thank you. Oh, you, sir, as well. Sorry, are you a citizen of Middenheim, or are you visiting?
Oh, just a tourist.
Oh, well, still, your view counts. Your view counts. Do I detect a Reichlander accent by any chance?
Aye.
Oh, good, wonderful. A fellow Sigmarite, then. Yes, no. I'm drawing a petition. I'm not sure if you're aware, fine friends, but currently the tax reform. There's a tax reform occurring in our fine city, and it's sadly terribly misguided. The idea that the temples, especially the Temple of Sigmar, the profits are going to our pockets. Well, that's madness. They are going to the benefit of the Empire and the citizens. So this tax is actually robbing the citizens of the Empire. And we're drawing together. We've already done one, but the High Capitula of the temple is trying to do a second one for the Graf's attention. And if your signature can make all the difference about these taxes and letting it be known that the people do not want this.
Heynrik has no eyes for politics, but he can read a room, and I would presume that whatever this tax is, the Graf knows about it, or has perhaps in his small chambers given some kind of indication of whether or not he approves. So I am not going to take the lead when so many of his representatives are right here. If the huntsman and the champion want to take up arms against this terrible tax, I'm happy to play along. If they look bored and are dismissive, then I am also not going to make a fool of myself by deciding to become a radical at a dinner party surrounded by the establishment.
So you pause. Emmanuel simply shakes her head and says, "Oh, I don't really know anything about what's going on with all that. I just do my best to keep my man here happy. We're going to be married soon, you know." And at that, you see Dieter look at the priest, and he starts looking at him with a smile, and then his expression just goes very serious, and he just says, "Well, the taxes are for the good of the people. We should not question our betters." And the priest says, "Oh, I do understand that, champion, but you surely must consider the thing about the taxes is, well, the temples surely have enough money. What is a little more for the people?" Well, no, like I just said, champion, that's not quite actually what's happening. The thing about the taxes is, I bore of the taxes. I'm going to get a drink. And then he turns and just walks to the bar. And Emmanuel looks a little confused and says, "Oh, sorry," and she follows after him, and you're just left with Alavandrel, who looks a little confused for a moment and says, I will sign my name to this document, priest. I do agree with you, but I don't really understand taxes myself. Humans are strange with money, especially in this city. But yes, I do agree, it's not quite fair, especially on the dwarven population, is it? So very well." And he begins signing. And the priest looks at Valamandrel, looks at you and sighs and says, "Oh, thank you. And I suppose the rumours were true. The champion himself is for it. Well, not a very good look for a champion of the people, is it? Well, and of the Graf, I suppose. But, well, I suppose maybe that's... Never mind. Thank you so much for signing. And, sir, really, you won't sign? You're a Sigmarite. Surely you understand that this is important."
Oh, it's very important for this priest to understand the difference between I won't sign and I won't sign in front of people who are obviously against it. Not that Heynrik's name has any weight on paper. But now that the clear supporters have stepped away, alone with the elf and this priest, I am more keen to dig into the bottom of it, because this is probably this may be a chance where we can find some information. So Heynrik making his mark, which is, of course, incredibly crude. Remember, he is not literate, except in 7 or 8 Bretonnian words. So, as I'm scribbling my name, looking between the huntsman and the priest, oh yeah, I keep hearing about this with the dwarf tax. Surely it's not just a tax on dwarves, but I mean, I'm not one for politics. I'm certainly not one for tax policy, but it seems a strange thing. Do you know who's been pushing for this or why?
Oh, sorry, I couldn't say with any certainty. He lowers his voice. But yes, you are right, it is a dwarf tax. I mean, yes, they say it is for the guilds, but the guilds, 90% of dwarves of the city are in a guild, the Dwarven Guild. I mean, they do obviously let some human apprentices in, but the Engineers Guild and the Miners Guild are almost completely Dwarven-led. So, yes, it is a dwarf tax, and of course, not just them as well, the wizards, which, okay, granted, that's not so bad, but, of course, the temple tax, it's utterly insane.
I mean, perhaps I would have to know more before I could finally come think a decision, but I guess, look, I'm just a small citizen of the Empire, so as far as I know, taxes might just spring into existence on their own without anyone saying anything. But I don't think that's the case. Sure, there has to be a lord or a lady or somebody who's...
Well, yes. Well, obviously, I myself have been going down to the commerce of trade and taxation, and we tried to get some meetings with the High Chancellor, and, well... He pauses. You are a Sigmarite, aren't you? I haven't just assumed that. You're from the Reichland.
Oh, of course.
Ah! Of course. The elf at this point seems to have excused himself for your conversation and gone to join his friend. Well, don't spread this around, but of course it is highly suspicious that the Ulrich has not said a thing. Some of us think maybe they've made a deal that the Ulrichans will not be part of the temple tax. But, that's between us, of course.
I guess I just don't understand what the city seems like it has plenty of money. It's like you said, temples and guilds, lots of... I don't see why, except apparently just to irritate.
Of course. Well, you are exactly correct. I mean, bless you. You've not been in the city long. There is a direct reason, of course. We are being persecuted, my friend, right now. This is not necessarily new, but it has become increased of late. You must understand, not everyone here is an enemy of Sigmar, and Ulrich is an important god. I would never say that the god of war should not be given respect, but he's not Sigmar. And some of these people around here, they don't understand that. In fact, if anything, lately they're beginning to go backwards and thinking that actually it's still Ulrich is more important than Sigmar, which of course is very dangerous thinking. And well, taxing us and not them, well, then that's another attack, isn't it?
But pardon, of course, my ignorance. This is new. I mean, I assume there's always been some kind of discomfort between ours and theirs, but it's never been this. I hesitate to use the word brazen, but am I to understand this is an escalation of things?
That obviously happened in the past, and we finally thought we were over it, and that everyone was accepting that Sigmar is, of course, the champion and god of the Empire, and Ulrich, okay, here, this is his domain, but, Ulrich himself, it is said in the text, he allowed it. He gave his weapon to Sigmar and welcomed him among the gods to lead them. But some people, there's a certain difference of opinion where they say that is not the case, and that actually, some people even say Sigmar himself is usurped the throne of the gods, and Ulrich is not being respected. But don't listen to that, of course.
And of course, no need to call attention to such painful topics here. But something has to have changed. That someone has to be riling these people up, or looking to. There has to be someone who is looking to drive a cleft between the Ulrikins and then lowering his voice, rightful worship of Sigmar.
Of course, I agree. Who could say, though? It's been a tempestuous time. It hasn't helped that the Emperor himself has been awfully quiet of late, other than, of course, that proclamation he made, which, well, I feel may have been made in error, but I'm not going to question the Emperor, of course. It hasn't helped as well the movements of the separatists, the Nordlanders wanting... They've always wanted independence, fools, and then, of course, these wonderful sons of Ulrich spoiling everyone, and, of course, I confess that did you hear that there was a burning of the villages on the route between here and Altdorf? The problem being that village was in Middenland and not Reichland, and caused a little bit of a stir. I personally think that the witch hunters maybe just didn't quite get the message yet that mutants are no longer in the Empire. It led to a bit of a misunderstanding, you understand?
No, well, I know plenty about misunderstandings with witch hunters, among how little they like being told there's been a misunderstanding.
Exactly. So who can say? But I can say this, that this tax, it's one step too far, and the Grand Theologist himself was here only recently in the city to meet with our Ulrich and try and sort things out. It went okay. It didn't go quite well, but it went okay, I think. Although the High Capitular is trying to proposition the Graf for more men, some Templars maybe of the Fiery Heart, or maybe even finally get some official witch hunters here in the city. They're not really welcome, but we think that would, if the Graf did that, it would be a sign of cooperation, and surely Ulrich would agree a little.
I'm more than happy to let this man keep talking, but the longer he goes on with titles, the less and less we are within the realm that Heynrik understands, and if the goal here for him was to figure out, is there someone agitating? Is there finally someone I can stab?
Certainly. I mean, he said a lot of people, and you have heard some of this before. Once again, our Ulrich, that's the leader, and you would know that the Grand Theologist is the equivalent of Sigmar. Although, there are also two arch-lectors, you think, so... Being the Sigmarite faith being far more widespread over the Empire, they're more important people. But yes, the Grand Theologist, you think, is the religious equivalent of the Ulrich. So apparently the head of the Sigmar faith was here very recently for chats, so it really is getting serious, it sounds.
That's all bigger than Heynrik. I'm looking for someone who went to the meeting and said, I propose a tax on the guilds, and that's the person, but apparently, Heynrik wasn't wrong. Laws do just spring into existence out of the void.
Indeed. One thing's for sure. It's big. And like you said, lots of important names. But then you do remember, weren't you going to some party that is going to have lots of important people? Maybe if you remember some of these names, you can bring them up.
It's a foolish man who puts their faith in Heynrik and his political machinations, but we'll see what happens.
And with that, the man finally lets you go and says, but please, do come by the Temple of Sigmar. It must be hard for you here. And again, there are more of us in the city than they'd like you to think, including in positions of power. We are recognized here, and we won't stand for this. That's why we're making this petition.
Time being on my side, then I would love to.
Good. Remember, Sigmar watches over you, and as long as you profess your faith, he will guide you.
Sigmar watches over all of us, and I will make the appropriate sign of the church.
And with that, he departs. I'd like you to roll one intuition check.
Is this separate from you'd like me to pass that intuition check? Because that has not happened.
Oh, that's fine. One thing you have learned, it sounds like the champion is very for the taxes. Surprising. He seemed quite a nice guy.
Plenty of nice people have done bad things, especially in the Empire.
Indeed. And at that point, you'll finally remember that you have other friends here, and you'll see all of you for a moment seem separate, but finally maybe you were drawn together at a dinner table, as it does also seem the event is finally coming to an end. a large group of halflings start clearing people out, politely, getting ready for something called an elephant show. No idea what that is, but it does seem as if this dinner is finally coming to an end.
Like, with real elephants?
You have no idea what an elephant is, Heynrik, so maybe.
I'm going to ask either Sigfreda or Kruger, whoever shows up first. Wait, with real elephants?
Elephants? Do I know what an elephant is?
You do not.
I imagine it's this legendary creature. I'm going to pretend for a moment that Heynrik has maybe seen a picture in a book and describe this massive, trunked, thundering, leathery creature that makes a noise like this, and then I'll make the noise for Kruger, which I'm not going to do here.
Sigfreda, you also you may have seen that name in a book once, as a bestiary of some kind, but you have no idea what it actually is.
No, and I've drank quite a lot as well. An elephant, you say?
I said an elephant show.
Where?
Here. Soon.
Really?
Do you think it's going to be an actual elephant or someone playing the elephant? Are they going to, like, dress up?
Oh, you'd need a lot of people to fit into an elephant. They're big.
Yeah, but that would be the thing that would be so amazing about it, right? They would need to move in a coordinated fashion. It would require quite a lot of training, I'm sure.
Around now for doors. Could you fit an elephant through that? But it's all a bit irrelevant.
No, not irrelevant. It's an elephant.
Are you leaning forward? Have I ever seen Sigfreda drunk before? Like, drunk?
Probably not.
Then this is your first time.
Are you looking to her and then kind of smiling at Kruger? I think. Sigfreda, are you tipped to the wind?
If that's some colloquial way of asking if I have drank more than my share, then I suspect that you are probably right. But Erica will walk me home, I'm sure.
Must be some occasion. Sorry, I lost track of both of you. The champion and the huntsman, and then a Sigmarite priest. This has been a very interesting party.
I hope you found out something. I was riddled into circles by the twin of Marguerite Wittgenstein.
Oh, so that's what that was. I thought I had seen her somewhere before.
What?
Well, I thought that she was maybe the sister, but then she said that the Wittgensteins were friends, and that's not how you really speak about brothers or sisters. I never had any. But she knew that I wasn't Marguerite von Wittgenstein. But she thought that I had something on her as well. This was the commissioner. Wallenstein.
Who is a copy of... You mean Marguerite von Wittgenstein as in Marguerite, and then Heynrik will make a gesture across his throat. Wittgenstein.
Yes, the one that's my name now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I wish I had to take it from somebody, but
Well, I wanted to go for the lunatic in the house, but someone told me that it would be better to go for the lady of the house.
And she's here. And you can see the gears turning for Heynrik, especially on the back of the dream that he had earlier.
Certainly. And maybe even, Heynrik, you will remember a package, and a certain Sigfreda read a letter, and maybe you'd also remember, and I'll let you decide how you react to this, of course, but you might also remember there was a reason your parents were in that place. You might find it hard to recall, but you remember asking Joseph. They were struggling a little, so they took a contract on a delivery to a very dangerous location, with very good money being paid. That's why they were there, Heynrik.
Sorry, I'm just catching up here, so I just want to make sure I have absolutely clear. Somebody who we're pretty sure that you met and we killed is here, but doesn't think that they're them and is mad that you are pretending to be them even though they are...
No. I shake my head, a little too vigorously. No. Because she's not going to... This commissioner's not going to have just sprung out of thin air. I mean, if she's just appeared out of thin air, someone in the city is going to have noticed, aren't they? So she's obviously been here for some time, longer than we were travelling here or in Wittgendorf, I imagine. So, and she genuinely didn't seem to... When I made certain accusations that she was Marguerite von Wittgenstein, she just didn't take that bait at all. And I don't mean in a... She stonewalled me. I mean, she just didn't seem to have a clue what I was talking about.
She genuinely believes that she is not Marguerite.
I don't know that she is Marguerite, because if she is, who the hell did we meet in her castle?
Could they be twins?
Well, I said... Kruger, are you listening?
Kruger, at that point, you do suddenly recall, didn't you see a portrait of two young-looking identical girls in one of those family portraits?
Yeah. Yeah, like the painting.
Painting?
There was a painting in the castle with two identical-looking girls. I mean, they might have been twins. One was adopted away. You only need the one, right? I guess. And she got a new life here.
And married or was adopted into a Wallenstein.
Yeah, perhaps they couldn't have kids by themselves, and they solved it that way. Everyone wins. You get a nice alliance between families.
You should be an inquisitor, Kruger. You've got a mind for deductions. I got thrown off because she said that the Wittgensteins were friends. And I thought if she was a sister, she would have said my family or something like that. But, you know, your deduction makes about as much sense as anything else I've ever encountered on this long and tortured journey. That she was adopted away, and maybe she knows about her familial heritage, but she sees them not as her family. I don't know. But I think you're probably right. And the wine here is very good, and it's free.
Heynrik, the conversation seems to be moving on, so I'll ask just one last time. That thought about that package, and why your parents were there, does that make you feel anything?
As Sigfreda and Kruger are going through their theories of adoption, Heynrik drifting off into the middle distance as he puts those 4 brain cells very hard to work. And then, right about the time that Sigfreda says her line about the wine being very good, that is when Heynrik just chimes in with a light bulb moment saying, the package, the letter. Do you remember?
The one with the elephant?
No. Back at the castle, we were in the ladies' chambers, and there was a package with some kind of... I don't remember what was actually in it, but there was a letter to a relative in Middenheim.
Oh.
Yes, Sigfreda, when suddenly that's mentioned, you remember, you read it. It was a letter addressed to someone, saying how lovely Middenheim was, how they'd really prefer it there, how it was finally time for them to come and join them.
I pinch the bridge of my nose. I read a lot of letters. I'm sorry I forgot. If I had, that would have been a much easier conversation. I'll blame the wine. It's too good.
It is good, Sigfreda. Nice and oaky.
It tastes like wood.
Just exchanging a glance with Kruger there for a moment. All right. So... We have a twin. She's saying that she knows Marguerite, but is a friend because the family is full of evil sorcerers and...
Let's probably move on from the friend thing. That was my confusion, and I will take responsibility for that. Finger comes out, poke in the chest. But the important thing is is Zinch.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good reader of people, I think. And I don't think she was in on it. But she said that the High Court had people who were, probably, and the the Lollards, the Law Lords. I'm sorry, I have drank too much and it has gone to my head. I'm okay. I am okay.
At that point, Kruger, you feel another tap on the shoulder, but it's far lower this time, more on your elbow.
I'll look down and see who that would be.
You see a familiar-looking dwarf, currently with his hood up, just looking at the pair of you, keeping his gaze down. He doesn't seem to then be looking at anyone directly as he says, "Right, sorted. Tomorrow, in the morning, you're going to be at this place in Gelmund. It's a Dr. Fredrickson. He's going to be popping out for a little bit, and you're going to be popping in. And the High Chancellor, who's looking for some doctor advice, well, you understand what I'm saying. You're going to be ready to go, yes?"
Yes, absolutely.
Conducting an interview.
Exactly.
You can rely on Kruger.
Good. All right then. Message delivered. And with that, he just walks off.
I don't even want any of the food. It's free. And the wine.
He doesn't even turn, Sigfreda, as he just quickly goes to the crowd. And you notice by this point the food and wine sadly is starting to be cleared away. And again, lots of halflings, and they're putting up lots of barriers, and there's a lot of excitement going on, and a new crowd are gathering in the square.
I probably should have eaten more. As long as Erica's got a full belly, that's alright.
Indeed. Kruger, what's on your mind? It seems quite a lot has been discovered. More mysteries, more clues. Time is moving on, though, as always. You look and realise it's almost like 5-6 o'clock. This day already is beginning to escape. What do you think you want to do next?
Yes. Well, I've made a promise to go meet up with Bjorn, with Boris. And I should really do that. I mean, he's the only one who's alive of my old friends from here. And I don't know, I felt kind of bad for him. It seems like he's not struggling necessarily, but, you know, it's a hard life. And he always struck me as maybe a little too kind for this way of living.
Oh, it's true. Did he help you with an occasional pickpocket and a little con when you were kids? Of course he did, but it couldn't hurt a fly. He tried to get in a fight once or twice. He'd always lose, and you'd have to help him out, and yeah, it wasn't really his thing. But he didn't really have a choice. He was so overjoyed when you came here to Middenheim because you were all going to be different. You were going to be a gang, sure, but you were, going to take it easy. It would be easy crime, and apparently this fellow, these Low Kings, they had the city in their pocket, and you wouldn't have to worry about troubles anymore.
Indeed. Sigfreda, I've made a promise to meet up with an old friend. You and Heynrik going to be all right? We have the interview tomorrow, right? But
oh yeah.
I suppose for the night we have nothing really that we
Don't
need to
break your promise. If you've got somewhere to be, you should be there. And have a nice time.
Yeah. You should have some water, I say. Kind of patting her on the shoulder.
Easiest way to catch an illness in a place like this is drinking the water. But you are probably right.
As Kruger goes off then, Sigfreda, what are you going to do? Obviously Heynrik's still here, you don't know what he's up to, but, well, the evening is yours, it seems.
The evening is still young, Heynrik. I think I'm going to take a walk with Erica. I'm going to stretch my legs and get some fresh air. And maybe I'll eat something. That might settle my stomach a little. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, I should know. How many people used to come into the surgery just because they were badly drunk or hungover? It felt like the sky was crashing down on their heads.
And that's what you'll go and do, Sigfreda. One thing seems certain for the moment. However this commissioner feels about you, they seem to have implied that if you stay out of their way, they'll stay out of your way, so maybe they're not going to be an obstacle yet. But, well, who knows what will happen in the future. But maybe this is something you don't need to worry about. Today, at least.
No, I'm reasonably cheery now that my wise companions have put two and two together and made sense of the probable relationship between her and the actual Marguerite. My biggest question in my mind is what did she think I was about to blackmail her with, but to be honest, as long as she thinks she's being blackmailed, that works. That works for me. So I will bid my goodbyes to Heynrik, a little more familiar than usual. I'll give him a big hug. And Erica and I can go walking. It then occurs to me that I am very drunk, and not that I think, not that Lord Evandril is probably around here, but if he still is, I don't want him to see me in such an embarrassing state. So I will quickly I'll make haste and get away from this place.
Indeed you will. And Heynrik, you will also get up to something for the evening, as it does seem as if you are free. So hopefully you will enjoy your own evening. Kruger, you'll make your way down to the Oswald district. It does take you some time. You're all the way at the top of the city, and it probably takes you a full hour to get there, and you think to yourself it's probably been a couple of hours. It is now the evening. You can't find your friend. You go to the Regent's Arms. He's not there. You ask around, and people shrug and say he's somewhere around here, but you don't find him. What do you do?
That's peculiar. I try to jog my mind. Do I have any idea of where he might be? Anything else that I've heard? I mean, we were talking about maybe going someplace around the Regent's Arms. I mean, not drinking where he works, right? He wanted to show me someplace.
You make your way through this district, and again, it's getting a bit rough already, but it's weird. It's not like the Alt Quarter. Here, it seems all the villains are inside places and in large groups, but no one's being robbed on the street. But they're definitely there. Maybe that's what your friend meant. Maybe it sounds weird. Maybe this man actually does keep some order. It does maybe make sense. You are aware of the concept. There's often two types of crime lord, isn't there? The really nasty ones, and then the ones that pretend to not be really nasty. Sometimes they're actually worse, but on the outside, it doesn't seem that way, does it?
No. I suppose there's something nice about the order. At least you have to worry less about getting robbed. Well, if I can't find him, I'm not going to spend the rest of the nights just walking around here by myself. I do feel bad about leaving Heynrik and Sigfreda behind, and I need to make sure that they're safe. I mean,
of course. Oh, certainly. And of course, it does occur to you there was that. Oh, you wanted to look into that thing in the Alt Quarter, didn't you? But it's a bit late now. Maybe it's best tonight just to head back to the Arms and hopefully find your friends there.
Yes, I mean, we were going to meet up with. We have the interview tomorrow. The Alt Quarter, Frau Keener, there was that. But perhaps that can come afterwards.
And so you'll make your way back to the Templar's Arms, as will all three of you eventually. And once again, after good food and drink, find slumber overtaking you as you head to the 4th day of the carnival.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the legendary campaign The Enemy Within for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, published by Cubicle 7. In this third part of the series, we are tackling Power Behind the Throne. Joining us as players in this series are none other than Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games and our dear friend Matthew Dawkins. The music was made by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Wordclock, Metatron Omega, Aegersonus, Apocryphus, Halgrath and Northumbria, featuring a number of collaborations with other artists, and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Antxon and Graham Barey for their generous support. And we'd of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Inti Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember that Skaven are definitely not real. Except, well, who's gonna believe you? Never mind.